Hey, welcome back. So, today is Saturday, and I just went ice skating. So I figured that's worthy of a vlog. I've never been ice skating before. So, I feel like I should start with the fact that I still get the feeling, mentioned it before, when I was driving there and when I was pulling up to the place. Even it took me an hour to get there, and the whole drive I was trying to distract myself, but I was feeling like, why did you do this? You don't want to do this. This is gonna be bad. Don't do this. um, Last time I mentioned, like, whenever you get that feeling, just to address the fact that, like, that's you living, like, that's it. That's life that you're feeling. So this is what you wanted, right? And it does help a little bit, but still, it's still there, and I don't know if it'll ever go away. So I went with that girl that I met online, who were kind of just friends, and I just sent her a text, and I felt like I should do this. I made it a little bit clear that, like, oh, I like being your friend. I kind of want to read what I wrote, but I kind of shouldn't. I definitely shouldn't. It's too private. Yeah, I definitely felt like I needed to say something because ice skating is kind of datey. Like, if I was dating her, that's what I would do. We would do a first date at a lunch, which is what we did, and then the second date would be ice skating, and then the third date would be like a movie or something. So if we were dating, this is like the path. So I need to tell her, even though I told her before. This is the last time I'm gonna do it, but I needed to make it clear, like, I just don't want her to be same page club, right? So obviously the thoughts that I was having before were like, ice skating, that's stupid, like, it's for kids, like, you're gonna fall and embarrass yourself, and it's gonna be dumb, and you're gonna look weird, and I was really nervous about ice skating because I never did it before. The girl that I went with had only done it a couple times, so she was just as bad as me, which is good. The nice thing about this place that we went was, like, they had these walkers, so, like, I kind of used the walkers and I didn't fall down, so that was nice. And it was this really big open rink. There weren't a lot of people there, but there were some people, so there was, like, people skating. Nobody cared about me or her. Nobody was talking to us or looking at us. One time, I should mention this. I handled it decently well. A kid hit me and knocked me down, like, really hard. And so that was kind of embarrassing, right? Like, oh, I'm this kind of like I can barely stand on the stupid skates, and then this kid knocks me over. And the embarrassing part was, like, I got the wind knocked out of me, so I couldn't talk because I was on the ground, and the kid was like, oh, are you all right? And I wanted to say yes, and I tried, but, like, words weren't coming out. So that was embarrassing. Because then he was still standing there because he was like, oh, God, he can't even talk. What did I kill him? Or what's happening? So then social anxiety kind of flares up at that moment because then now people are looking at you and being like, oh, God, are you okay? It took me like 15 seconds, and I got back up, and then I was able to finally say, like, yeah, I'm fine, don't worry. And I was fine. That was embarrassing. It was really good that I went. I guess maybe I have to address this thing of, like, I am still looking for a girlfriend, and it's kind of weird to have a girl that's a friend, but I think I'm getting better at that. Like, I wouldn't have been able to go ice skating if this girl didn't come with me. So, like, she's my friend. She's a good person. She's really nice and thoughtful. She seems kind of like we have similar personalities. I don't know if I should say this. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. We went out to eat afterwards, which was good too. and she ordered something, but she has a gluten allergy, and she didn't realize that the chicken was breaded. So the waiter brought the food, and the waiter even said, like, oh, this has bread in it, like, is that okay? And she was like, oh yeah, it's fine, I'll eat it, like. And then the waiter was like, are you sure it's okay, like, you're not allergic to gluten? And she's like, no, it's fine. And then the third time the waiter asked, like, because, like, it's really no problem, we can take it back. And she was like, okay, yeah, you can, okay, maybe you should take it back. And then she told me, like, if I had bread, I'd probably have a really bad migraine. I was like, oh my god, you gotta tell her to take the food back, it's fine. But I would have been exactly the same. I would have done exactly the same thing. So, like, we have pretty similar personalities. So that's, like, good. Like, that's good for a friend to be like that, right? To have a friend like that. I think it's a good thing. Obviously, duh, it's a good thing. And I guess maybe feeling like it was a friend thing made me a little bit more comfortable. There's still, like, part of me, like, that was kind of hoping, like, well, maybe if I go to this ice skating thing, I'll really like her, and then she could be my girlfriend. But, like, I am kind of searching for that. And so part of me, when I left, there was, like, a bit of, like, an emptiness, like, oh, I wanted to really like her, but I only like her as a friend. But I think that's okay. Like, you're searching for something and you haven't found it, and that's why you're upset, but I didn't feel bad because, like, I found something else, like a good friend. That sounds lame. I don't know. This is so stupid. Why am I doing this? I just imagine the guy, I know the guy upstairs is there, and I know he's like he's in the Marines. Like, if he heard me talking about this, like, there's a 28-year-old kid and he's talking about going ice skating, like, just man up, suck it up, and join the Navy or the Army. I know. I should have joined the Army. But part of me feels like this is what, like, I support our troops or whatever. And, like, I'm grateful for their service. But part of me feels like this is kind of how a human is supposed to be. They're not supposed to be subjected to, like, violence and conflict all the time. Like, this is what we're supposed to be like. We're supposed to be emotional and connect, and we're not supposed to be like, oh, just don't talk about your stupid date and your stupid skating. It's stupid, and just drink beer and stuff. I don't know. Whatever men do. I'm not a man. So yeah, I'm still looking for that extra thing, and I got a match on Bumble, and I talked to her, but she's doing this thing, and maybe you can help me, like, figure out how to respond to this, because is she, like, playing a game with me or something? It's the same thing of, like, I sent her a message, then she waits a day, and then sends me a message, and then I respond, and then she waits a day, and then sends me a message. Hasn't happened for a couple days, but I'm gonna respond on Sunday and just be like, oh, I don't know what to say, but I think I should say something, because I'm like, I like talking to you. Do you want to keep talking? I don't know. Like, it's okay if you don't, but I don't want to just let it go. I might get choked up as I read this, but my dad just sent me a text, and, like, this is an example when I talk about, like, Christianity and stuff, and how, like, I had good Christian parents, and I know a lot of people had maybe bad Christian parents. This is what my dad just texted me. He said, as we start the new year, I just want to let you know I pray for you guys daily. Probably don't say this enough, but I love being your dad, and I'm proud of the men you have become. Love you, Dad. Yeah, sorry, that got me. And I responded back to that text, and I said, I love you too, which is something I don't usually say out loud to anybody ever. I just wanted to show that as an example of like that's what a Christian is supposed to be. So like if you have experience with bad Christians, then sorry, but like my dad's a good one. Was I talking about some stupid Bumble thing? Who cares? I'll respond to her tomorrow and I'll try to think of something. But if you have any advice, like how to play this stupid Bumble game, I'm not playing the game. Like whenever she texts me, I text her back like within an hour because I'm like, oh, I want to talk to her, so I'm not gonna wait. Why would I wait? That's stupid. The only thing is like I don't send 2 texts in a row, so I wait for her. So that's why I've been waiting for a couple days, but I don't mind. Okay, I waited like 3 days and she didn't say anything, and I just want to know, like, hey, what's up? I don't know. So yeah, I think, yeah, I do like doing things better than just lunch dates and coffee dates where you just sit for 2 hours and talk. Obviously, well, I don't like those things, but I should try to get better at them. But I definitely liked ice skating more because, like, you're doing something and you're focusing on, okay, like, let's ice skate. And I was smiling a lot, like, oh, you're doing a good job. And, like, I didn't feel embarrassed about being terrible, which is good. Like, there were a lot of, like, teens there who were, like, really good at ice skating. I guess they're probably, like, on the hockey team or something. And, like, I wasn't embarrassed about being the weird older dude who was there. And then we went to dinner and we talked, and I was probably a little bit more comfortable than the first time we met. But still, I didn't do great. There were times, there were times that I had this story. Because when I was driving there, it took me like an hour, and I had this thing happen where in New York, in New Jersey, we don't really have this, but in New York, they have this when you're driving on a one lane. What is one lane both ways? There's a passing lane, but there's also other traffic, so it's a dotted yellow line. So that means you can pass, but there's also cars coming the other way. So I was driving on this thing, but because it had just snowed, the street was white. So I thought it was a white dotted line and not a yellow dotted line. So I passed a car, and then all of a sudden another car was coming, and I was able to swerve back. So I tried to tell her that story, and I just, like a good person, like a good storyteller or whatever, would be able to tell that in a funny way. But when I told her, she wasn't super interested in it, and I was like, I'm not telling this the right way, and I was kind of stumbling. And that kind of happened too. I did a bad job when we're talking about Spider-Man. She's like, oh, like, I just saw Spider-Man. Did you see it? Did you like it? And I was like, oh, I didn't like the beginning part with Doctor Strange, blah, blah, blah. I was just mumbly and weird, and I didn't know how to communicate. Like, I had a bunch of thoughts about Spider-Man, and I didn't know how to say them. But there were good things too. We talked about, I mentioned this game that I want to play called, because I thought she might like it. I mean, she doesn't play games at all, but I thought it was funny because there's this game I really want to play called Lake. I just heard of it. And it's like, it's not very video gamey. It's basically you're this woman who's coming back to her hometown, and you take over her dad's paper delivery route for 2 weeks, and you just deliver packages, and you meet people and talk to them, and that's the whole game. Like, there's no shooting zombies or whatever. And so I'm really excited to play this game. And that was good because that's like, oh, that's me, and that's something that I'm excited about. So, like, I wanted to tell her, and I did. And I thought, like, it wasn't embarrassing because I'm like, if I really wanted to play Halo, I probably wouldn't tell her because I'm like, oh, Halo's kind of lame, and oh, you shoot people and whatever. But I thought it was kind of interesting that I really liked this game, and I'm like, I really want to play it. So that's a bit of gaming news for me is I bought an Xbox Series S or X, whatever one is the cheapest. And that's coming in a couple days, so I can play that game. So I'm excited about that, and I told her about that, like, oh, I bought an Xbox and I want to play this game, and I just sent her the trailer because I think she would like it. It's really goofy and stupid, but it seems like a game that I would really like. It reminds me of a long time ago I talked about a Ghibli movie called Only Yesterday, which is like one of my favorite movies probably. I've only seen it once, but I don't really have favorite movies, but that's one of my favorites. So, and we also talked, I mentioned to her, I think this is a good thing, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, oh, you're oversharing and it's too much, but I did tell her that I've been seeing a therapist because I was talking about the New Year's resolutions. And I mentioned that, like, my resolution is I'm going to take an improv class. And I think I talked about it with the therapists. That's going to be my thing. I didn't do a great job of explaining because she asked me, like, oh, why'd you decide to do that? And I was like, oh, I don't know, like, it might help with my communication, or like I'm not great in like groups or whatever, and I want to try to get better. I didn't really have a good reason, and I wish I did. I just wish I was more confident and clear about, like, oh, this is why I'm doing it. And I didn't. But I'm glad that I told her, because she told me, like, she used to do improv a couple times. And that kind of surprised me. Like, oh, I didn't know that. So that was good. Like, we had a connection there. Like, oh, you shared something, and oh, now you're talking about improv. And she was telling me the rules. She's like, oh, there's 3 rules that I had to learn, and yes, and I was like, yeah, I know the rules. Because I remember I looked at, what are the rules? I think there's 6 rules. Yes, and add new information, don't block, avoid questions, play in the present, establish the location, be specific, provide colorful details. Yeah, those are the rules of improv. But I'll talk about that later. I'm not going to do it right away because there's no classes. But I'm waiting for you to kind of have a class. Maybe I'll call them. I don't know. I guess that's it. I don't want to be too long. I mean, I guess I should reiterate, like, I have my own reasons for doing this, obviously, but the reason that you should watch it is, like, it's obviously like, well, if I can do it, you could do it. I know sometimes that doesn't help. But it does feel like the more I do these things, the more they become part of me. Like, I become a thing doer, because I was never a thing doer before. And so you start to think, like, when you're 27 years old and you've never done anything, you're like, well, I'm just somebody who doesn't do things, so I can't do anything. But you force yourself to do a couple things that you're going to hate and you don't want to do, and then, well, now you're a thing doer, and you've done things, and so now you got to do more things. And if you don't do things, it's fine if you don't like them, but at least you've done things. I went ice skating for the first time in my life. If I wasn't doing this, then, like, maybe I would never, ever go ice skating in my entire life, and then I'll be wasted that aspect of my humanity, I guess. I don't know. If I can go ice skating, you can go ice skating. It's easy. And try to find a place that has one of those walker things, because that really helped me. It made me feel confident, like, okay, at least I'm not going to fall and look like an idiot. Because you can just stand on the... It's a little hard to get your balance at first, but just, like, stand up a little bit, and you get it eventually. Your brain, like, just learns how to do it. I guess that's it. I feel like I didn't say anything super interesting today, but I just wanted to do updates. I'm always trying to do updates every week. And I thought it was important to talk about this ice skating thing, because this is the first, like... I haven't done anything like this. Like, I'm thinking, like, oh, you go bowling, or you go do a friend thing. I haven't really done anything like this. Where it's just, like, me and I met a friend and we went to a thing. Like, ever. maybe since like middle school or something. So it's a big deal. There are sometimes I did like a couple things with the church. That doesn't count. Like I met this person, we became friends, we went ice skating. I've never done anything like that. I've never made a friend. And then I made a friend. So that's good. Sorry, I'm just emotional now because my dad sent me that text and now everything's like, I made a friend. It's still stupid. That Marine's gonna come down and yell at me. Anthony, we're gonna straighten you out. Just sometimes you just want to shake like the version of me from this morning and be like, stop worrying so much, you idiot. It's just ice skating. You're gonna go. It's gonna be fine. Just punch him in the face, like snap out of it. But that's it for today. And I don't have anything for next week. It's just gonna be life, whatever happens. And but I'm gonna keep trying to do stuff. And whatever happens, I'll talk about it. I think every week I should at the end just be like, so cool that anybody's watching this. So of course we got my man Vault and Gladys and Ariel commented and she said Happy New Year, Happy New Year. Or Sad New Year. That's a good joke. Only Rush, my man Only Rush. I got a new guy, K Doomer. He commented. That's cool. I hope you're happy with your life or whatever. And this For the Love of Sims person, she does like a Sims thing. She's super nice. He does everybody. Oh, and there was like a ASMR collect and play guy. So people have been watching and commenting, which is weird, and I'm grateful that like this is way too long, but like I'm grateful for people connecting and with what I'm saying and hopefully making them feel better, and it makes me happy. So thanks, and see you tomorrow. Bye.